Doing extremely well this evening. Look, sorry guys, extremely late this evening. Stuff happened and that sort of stuff. So look, this is the sort of normal. Let me just adjust the light. This is just the sort of normal late show. I've been trying to do these at 9:30, but tonight was just one of those shows whereby everything went wrong. But look, we are sort of back to our normal 10:30 slot just for this evening, as I promised. We'll do a late show now on a Tuesday, on a Thursday, and then going forward, hopefully we will start to do them again on a every day. So look, get into this community. That is the first thing to say, is get into this community. Best community on this platform. You never know what is going to happen. This afternoon proved that you never know what is going to be said or happen on this channel. And look, get into it. Be respectful to the your 10:30 JB here. Look, yeah, I am. Apologies. This was supposed to be 9:30, but you know, look, I'm here. So look, get into this amazing community. Look, get in there, be respectful to the community, be respectful to yourselves, be respectful to me. Otherwise, the banhammer comes out. I will issue banhammers. Scott will do it, Nick Aruzzo will do it, Dino will do it as well. But look, we don't need to do it, but we absolutely will. Second thing to say is, look, get into the chat. I'm not a dictator. This chat, get the old man Cardi on today, JB. I've got the jumper on, the old man one on today. So look, I'm not a dictator of the chat. The reason why these shows take so bloody long is because I do read out all your chats. So get into the comments tonight about anything you like. This is your show. I'm probably gonna have a bit of a rant tonight, but look, let's get through the chats. I can already see you guys in the chats as well. Logan is in the chat. Scott is already in there as well. Yeah, Logan is a City fan, but welcome, my friend. Got the old man card in. Did you go for a power nap so stream was delayed by an hour? No, just kids. Just kids. You know, kids really. Yeah, just children. So look, I'm here now. Ray Simpson says hello Ray. Hope you're doing extremely. What's next? A turtleneck. Don't even look. I don't even get me started. I could wear some proper old man stuff, but look, I'm not going to do that to you guys. I didn't even have time to change into a shirt tonight, so you know I'm going rogue and I'm going off cuff. So look, we went through the Spurs preview before this afternoon. I thought that was a good chat about Spurs and how we think we're going to play. Look, I'd love to know what you guys think. You know, do you think we're going to beat Spurs? You know, are you more confident for the Spurs game? Tonight we've got Grandad JB. I'm fully black and white tonight. So, and in fact, I may, do you know, am I going to take this off? No, because I'm cold. No, you won't beat Spurs. 2 midfielders in the summer still be floating around. And look, let's get into this. Henderson, legend, my friend. I love that opening, buddy. I'm not going to lie, I feel like Spurs is a bogey team. Samuel says North London forever. Look, get in there, guys. We absolutely don't mind if you support Spurs, Arsenal. Look, let me know. You know, Arsenal won tonight. You know, did they have it their own way? But you know whatever you think about Arsenal this evening, Arsenal are you know, they are you know, they're doing what teams do, right? They're doing what teams who win things do. They are getting results, maybe when they're not playing the best. They're getting results, you know, when they shouldn't be. So, you know, and that is a sign of a good team. So, you know, look, this is not Arsenal TV. You know, to go in specs. So this is not Arsenal TV, you've got your channel for that. But look, look, Arsenal there or thereabouts. Samuel, my friend, legend. So look, get into it tonight. Now we've had time. Now there's a day between the transfer windows. Do you know what? I might actually. You know what? To make me feel better, I'm actually going to put on a shirt, right? So just give me a second. Oh. There you go. That's better. There you go. There you go. That's better. That's better. That's better. I can't do a stream without a shirt. I can't do it. I can't do stream without a shirt. Especially my beloved. God, my specs are dirty. These black shirts. So look, this have a look about what you're saying. What did you call a shit Bruno Fernandes? Spotify 2385. Oh mate, that is quality. What do you call a shit Bruno Fernandes? Rodri, mate. I love it. Absolutely hilarious, buddy. Man City is coming with you. Hopefully Newcastle. I have a lot. I have a hot take. Oh, go on, Ray. Well, I love Ray's hot takes. That sounds wrong. Go on in, Ray. I will take your hot take. So feel free, Ray, to give us your hot take. Let's have a little look. Who's winning the Mickey Mouse Cup? Let's have a little look. I love that. Ray. So Ray says, I'd pay 65 million if that's the price for Harry Kane. He brings goals, experience, and leadership. For me, he can help Shesko and others get at least 2 seasons out of him. Now, Ray, I agree with you. I don't agree at that price, but I agree. I would take Harry Kane. Now, I would take Harry Kane, though, on the basis that we've gotten 2 players. I would take Harry Kane on the basis that we've got midfielders. Look, if we get to the Champions League, do we need another striker? 100%, yes. Oh, this light's doing my head in. Yes. But we can't get Harry Kane and not a midfield. And Ray, that's my only look. I don't necessarily think that that's a hot take. I think it's a very good take. I just think that I know, and we will discuss it. This is the theme of the show tonight. That Willie Wilcox, the guy who's been tasked with running the football inside of this club, he's gambled. And look, Ray, I'm with you. As long as we get midfielders, and I think we need another right back. If we get those players, then would you go get a Kane? Yes, I would. Maybe not 65 million, but I think if you could get Harry Kane for 45, but he would have to be addition. I wouldn't say no to Kane. Look, Grace says hi. Hello, Grace. Hope you're doing extremely well. City going to win the treble this season. Scott says 65 for Kane is too much. I said 65 mil because that's what was going about for him. Yeah, I think Kane would be up and around that 65 mark. So I think for Harry Kane, look, if that price, I think, Ray, if that price dropped for me to around about 40, 45, but for me, he would have to be an additional. He couldn't be Harry Kane or a midfield because next season, we're going to basically have a non-existent midfield next season. So, I don't disagree. I don't disagree with Harry Kane. I don't at all. Do you think Bruno will leave you? I don't know. I don't know, and that I'll hold that for a second because I want to bring that as part in of why I think that this is a gamble. Logan, I think you. I'm gonna write that down, and I'll bring that in to the gamble, and it is a huge gamble. Is that top from 2002 season? No, this top is from I think it's the 95 season. I think it's the 95 season. I know it's the season where Kant and I kung fu kicked somebody. I think it's 95, 96. I think. Kane is a great player, but we need someone that's younger and build for the future. If the club is penny pinching, let's gamble. Let's gamble it. Take Erik from Real. He has crazy potential. A right back. We already have the best right back in the world. So, no, Grace. I just meant Grace. I just meant in addition. I just meant look, Grace. Look, do not piss off Grace. Okay. Grace. I take it back. What I mean, Grace, is that we're gonna buy an additional support. No, we're not. United will be in the top 3. Wilcox needs the sack if any of us see him get injured, and we didn't get any of the players. I'm going to go into that. The max I'd pay 45 plus achievable add-ons. We need a direct replacement for Casemiro. Don't piss. It's look. There you go. We can win. We can win the title, says Wave Gutter. Maybe. So look, let's bring in to what was said there, right? Let's bring in the Wilcox stuff. Let's bring in the sort of Harry Kane stuff as well, Casemiro stuff. Let's bring that in to the chat tonight. Look, Spotify says we can win the title. Look, as I keep saying on here, right, is look, you guys, if you guys want to say that we're going to win the Premier League, no problem. It is in your prerogative to do that. Fans, in my opinion, should aim for the stars, right? Got no problem with that at all. But I don't share it. But I think fans, like kids, teenagers, older people, if you guys want to believe that we can win a league, look, not a problem. I can't get on board with that. Look, it relies on Arsenal dropping 4. And look, do we want to be that club? Right? No disrespects to an Arsenal, right? And when I say this, I'm talking about to some fans, not AFTV, because AFTV are just, they're them. Do we want to be banter club? Look, I get it. I understand that people want a title, but for this season, look, if we get top 4 this season, right? Let's cast our minds back. We were 15th last season. Chance to get into the Champions League this season. Right. And Grace, I've just seen that, Grace. Oh my God. I can't, Grace, I can't even contemplate that. We finished 15th last season. Grace, you've just done me now, Grace. Not in that way. We finished 15th last season. If we finish between 3rd and 5th or 6th, I'm sorry, but we've overachieved from where we were to where we are, and we have to bear in mind. We had a shit first half of the season. Look, it's a very, very competitive season. It's a very, very competitive season, and look, nobody's covered themselves in glory this season. Not even Arsenal. Let's be fair. So, look. Can we win a league? Mathematically, it's possible, but look, let's just take this one game at a time. What's going to happen? Look, and I hate to do this, but what happens if we lose to Spurs? What happens if we comfortably lose to Spurs? Are people who are saying that we're going to win the league and Carrick is at the wheel? are those people still going to be saying the same thing? So look, my aim for the season was between 8th and 10th. Anything above 5th, 6th for me is fantastic. So look, let's just aim for me. Let's aim for 4th. Look, we're in a top 4 race. I never predicted that this season. We're in a top 4 race. Let's enjoy it. Let's get into that top 4 race. Let's establish the top 4 race, and let's see what happens. You know, maybe we'll be pulling 3rd, 2nd. But look, you know, I'm not even suggesting that for a second. But look, I do think as a fan base, look, I think it's time for calm. I really do. I think it's time for calm. I think it's time for calm heads. But look, guys, if you guys wanna, that's not going to happen, Nikarusu. If we win the league, I'll do something. I don't know what. I'll do a show in a mankini. You know, I don't know, but you know, I'm not shaving my head off, but I may wear a mankini. You know, I have threatened that before, by the way. I will just need to go to the gym for a little bit first, just to, you know, make sure that there's no, you know, let's have a little look, see what saying. Wilcox does need the sack. Let's have a little look. Will Casemiro be returning to Madrid? Nope. I think we will lose Bernardo Silva at City next season. When we are United biggest team with Madrid, we should be winning automatically. We should be winning. Completely agreed. You should we be? The problem is with this statement. Look, I get the concept, right? I do, but we've not earned the right. Nobody wins anything automatically unless you're in the Spanish league, unless you're in the Bundesliga, unless you're in the Spanish Liga, unless you're in not even Italy really, but unless if you're in Portuguese league, if you're in like the Turkish league, you're guaranteed if you're one of the top 2 or 3 teams to win that league, right? As fans, we don't have the right, and I think we should take a lesson from that, and our lesson should be we shouldn't automatically win anything. You know, this team needs hard work, and this is why we don't win anything, is because this team, these players that we've collated and collected together are of that opinion as well. I think top 3 is more of a realistic than winning the league. Ray says Jason Wilcox is clearly out of his depth, but it's paycheck at the end of the day. He knows if he gets sacked, he will get another job. Jason Wilcox hasn't got top 6 knowledge. Jason Wilcox is my lover, and I call him Daddy. Oh, Grace. Oh, Grace. Oh, Grace. Do you watch United under 21 streams? I do watch, actually. I do watch when I get a chance. I do watch some of the youth games, actually. Original Prof Master says, easiest job in the world, just do nothing at all. Says, I think if you lose Pep, I think I'll give up a season ago. Nothing else to give. Win the league, the championship. If United win, yeah, I've done that one. Arsenal, City, United, Liverpool. That's my top 4. If ran, I mean, that's an interesting one. This is water, by the way. Look. If you see me in a mankini, it will be a thing of it. It will be a joy. It would be a joy. I don't think you'd ever recover again. I don't think you'd ever see anything so amazing in your life. So look, all I'm going to say to you is I hope we don't win the league, because if I'm wearing a mankini, then your life's never going to be the same. So, I'm just saying. We need to be thinking, or do we get a CL? Our squad is not big enough to play FA Cup and all other cups in between. Harry Smith says, if anyone could take the job in the summer, who would it be? Look, I'll say this. this is what I think. There are two streams, right? Number one is if we're going to invest in the squad and we're going to buy players. Enrique would probably be the one for me. I like what Enrique's done at PSG. Mbappe left. He got them playing. He's got an eye for youth. He plays the youth. I think he's I think he's a builder of teams. I do. I think Enrique is a builder of teams. I think Ancelotti is too old. I think we would need to have more of a better team for him to come in. Tuchel, for me, I think he's going to need players as well. But I think Enrique for me would be the one that I would trust, particularly with the youth. So for me, Enrique would be the guy if we're going to buy players. If we're not going to buy players, Emery. Emery for me, and again, even if we did buy players, Emery for me is the one. For me. So so Grace says you need 6 months in the gym to pull it off. Grace, I've been going to the gym for years, so that's all I'm saying, Grace. The camera sometimes doesn't do, but look, I'm not saying anything. Who's doing the emojis with me? Evening says Liam. Andrew says that was surely a penalty for Arsenal today. Do you agree? I mean, look. I think Arsenal sometimes maybe they're not a victim, but I think maybe today they are that's a consequence of I think some of their dark arts. Was it a penalty? I mean, I don't know. Logan says I've been to City under 21 games. I met. It's a great heat down there. Put the beer down, fatty. It's sparkling water, Grace. So it's healthy. 2 more wins before United Strand gets his hair cut. We might actually be good for once. Deborah, I will let that slide tonight. Sorry, Debram, I will let that slide tonight. I don't care. I'll be consistent, and I'll be consistent for you, because if I'm not, then I'm a traitor to myself. I don't care. The thing that scares the shit out of me, and look, I know it's fun. I know it's fun. But the biggest thing, and everyone's talking about this, is some guy who's going to get his hair cut, right? How does that correlate to moving a conversation on? The guy who's advertised is cutting his hair after 5 games, right? If you're summing up this club, that is how I would sum up this club right now. You've got protesters, who I think was projected to be 5,000 or 6,000. I think it was less than 1,000. And one of the biggest things on this fan base's mind is, yes, let's go and win 5 games. But the immediate next thing is some guy's going to get a haircut. I don't give a fuck. Like, how selfish, what a me, selfish situation that some guy is making it about himself. Never mind, we're trying to get into a top 4 race. And look, I appreciate that people think it's fun, right? And I'm sure, I guarantee you, United will probably bring him in for the PR. United will get the best barber in. They'll probably get the biggest PR. They'll sponsor his video. He'll become a famous guy. All on the back of what? So look, I'm not calling that opinion out, but I really couldn't give a shit. I think the guy who won't cut his hair for 5 wins is an absolute fucking moron. So I'm just saying it. Ray says, JB on the beer, here come the confessions. How really supports Forest. Oh wait, wrong content creator. No, this is fizzy water. Look, it really is. Look, it really is. Look, fizzy water. You know. That's all I'm saying. Why are Chelsea players crying in the Carabao Cup? Well, because it's a trophy. You know, would you rather your team walking off the pitch not giving a shit because they didn't get into the final, or would you rather your players get upset? Look, I get it, but I would much prefer my players to be upset that they've let down the fans and not get into the final. That's my opinion. About the melt if he gets his haircut or not. Exactly. Get Southgate. He has an all-round. I don't know what Grace is on tonight. I think you know. Get Southgate. He has the United strand making money off of United. Misery fan. Exactly that. Nikarutsu. Mate, look. Super chat, buddy. I mean, look. Look, Nikarutsu, mate, you know, you blow me away, mate, and I did need to say that correctly then. Just thank you for your hard work and dedication to the channel, keeping us entertained to chat about football. Here's a small donation towards your sparkling can of water. Look, Nikarutsu, my friend, look, you're an absolute legend of this channel, mate. You know, you've been supporting us for a long time, as you know, many people. But look, mate, you are an absolute legend. And look, you know, I feel extremely humbled and extremely lucky to have you guys here. So Nikarutsu, mate, you're an absolute legend, buddy, and thank you, mate. As always, absolute legend. Andrew says Everton are the greatest team of all time. And Andrew, if you're an Everton fan, you should think that. You know, if you're an Everton supporter and you think that they're the greatest team of all times, yes, you should. Absolutely, you should absolutely think that your team is the best of all time. Be the legend says, hello, sir. Hello, hope you're doing extremely well, buddy. Rooney or Henry. Look, all day long for me, all day long is going to be Rooney. All day long. Right? It's Rooney, right? Is Henry an incredible, one of the best Premier League players of all time? Yes, he is. I'm not going to argue that. I'm not even going to argue too much on this one. My personal preference, being a United supporter, I'm never gonna pick Henry. Never gonna pick Henry. Scalpman, excuse me. Scalpman says, if Henry were, I'm smiling because Grace. I've seen something there from Grace. If Emery were unavailable, would you want Glasner as a manager? Would you like Carrick to stay as assistant? Seems to have brought some belief. So this is where I'm at, and I think that's a great question, by the way. I think that's a fantastic question. If Emery is unavailable, and the options are Glasner, Irola, or somebody of that type, or a De Zerbi, give it to Carrick. Look, if Carrick does a good job, gets his team into a top 4, gets us into the Champions League, and this club is not going to buy players, which I don't think he's going to really buy a lot of players. If we're not going to get best-in-class players, if we're not going to get best-in-class football people behind the scenes, give Carrick a chance, because I'm sorry, Glasner, for me, has lost his shine. The guy does play a back 3, and Glasner, for me, is a big no. You know, if Carrick gets us top 4, and we've got no intention of getting the best players, the best coaches, let him do the job. I'm not saying here and now that he would be my choice. I think he's doing a great job. I think he should have all of the plaudits. But if it's a choice of him getting top 4 and a Glasner, I don't want Glasner. I don't. If we win 5, JB makes an OnlyFans account. Well, me and the old tripod. It's vodka in the can of water. I wish it was. If it's water, then why are you slurring your words? That's just me. Grace, you were joking about Southgate. As a rival, I'd love him to join United because he's a terrible club manager. Could Villa still win the league, Logan? No. Villa, I wanted Villa to get into a title race. Unless Arsenal have a complete capitulation and a complete collapse, I think Villa, the last result, I think Villa are done. He's old. Remember, he's possibly having a stroke. Well, don't know. I'm not going to go there about having a stroke. Too easy. Southgate, are you shitting me? No, thanks. No, I think so. Grace is on a wind up. Do you think we should only buy proven because we don't want to risk it? Grace, look, Grace again. Grace, absolute legend. Look, Grace, thank you. You know, I do need all of the money, all of the support. You know, just to get back to the gym. So, look, Grace, you know, look, you're a legend on this channel, and I really appreciate it, Grace. You do make me laugh as well. So, look, thank you, Grace, absolute legend. Do you think we should only buy Prem proven because we don't want to risk next Anthony? Look, I think the reason why we are having to buy Premier League proven players is because of this. We need to build a squad first. So the reason why we can't bring in youth, and this is just my humble view, the reason why we could bring in youth was because we had a settled team. You know, we had Schmeichel. He wasn't English, but you know, he became proven in the league because he was already there. You know, Kanchelskis, Schmeichel, Parker, Ince, Irwin, Roy Keane, Paul Ince. You know, these guys, you know, came in, and because we had them there, we were able to bring in the youth. But we need to build the team first. The reason why we're trying to bring in Premier League proven is because we're trying to fast track our way to the top. Instead of, you know, we need to buy Schmeichels. We need to buy the Schmeichel, the Irwin, the Parker, the Pallister, the Bruce, the Keane, you know, we need to buy those players first and then bring in different players. So we need to buy foundations. And you know, I don't think we're going to do it. Rooney far better than Henry, says Alex. Stop boasting about the size of your tripod. Look, it's, you know, what can I say? You know, I'm kidding. Carrick for the job, JB. Look, Neil, Carrick for me is this. I need to see Carrick, right, in terms of, like, let's get to the end of the season. Right? If Carrick gets 4th, right, I think Carrick needs to be in the conversation. There is 100% no doubt. If you're going to go through the candidate, and Carrick gets you top 4, you have to consider him. If I want to be a Premier League winning team, with the best in class players, the best in class people and players. If we're not going to do that, Neil, if we're not going to go and get 4 or 5 players, clear out this squad, which we can't do, if we're then not going to get the best in class coach, if it's a Glasner, and Carrick gets us top 4, give it to Carrick. The only time that I would move away from that is if we could get an Emery. Emery would be the guy for me. But outside of that, if we're not going to buy players, which look, if you listen to Ornstein today, and I will go through what Ornstein said as well, I think Carrick should be in with a shout. Kevin McGee says Bruno absolute beast mode. Kevin, welcome. Hope you're doing extremely well tonight. Hi, I need an original T-shirt. Okay. Do you want to tell me more than that? Who do you rate as United's greatest ever player? Almost our most naturally gifted player, and are they the same or different? I will. I'll tell you who do I think is our greatest player. Who do I think that I've seen as our greatest player? I think Cantona for me. Piss. I think Cantona for me. Cantona for me is, and the reason why Cantona for me is our greatest player is really, really simple. Look, it depends on your era, right? And I don't think that there's a wrong answer to this one, right? Some people will be Bruno Fernandes, and that's absolutely fine with me. For me, the greatest player for me has got to be Cantona for me. And look, I'll answer who is the most naturally gifted player. Rooney for me. Look, Cristiano, was he a gifted player? 100%. 100% gifted player, right? But he worked extremely hard, right? Rooney, for me, was probably the most naturally gifted player. Look, 16 years old. Look, Cristiano at 16 wasn't doing the things that Rooney was doing. Rooney, for me, in terms of the players that I've seen, probably the most gifted. 100%. Who do I think is our greatest ever player? Look, if you're older than me, you could argue Dennis Law, George Best. I'm not going to argue with that, but I can't say that with authority because I've never seen them play. So it's a bit like me trying to have an opinion on something that I didn't see. And I'm going to have a slight dig at some people here. It's a bit like on other channels where they let children present shows and they talk about United of the past, and they were probably about one, and I don't even think that they were fucking born. So it's a bit like me trying to talk about stuff that I didn't see. I saw Cantona, I saw Schmeichel, I saw Giggsy, I saw Cristiano, Rooney. So for me, my greatest player is Erik Cantona. My hero is Mark Hughes. But if I'm looking at it subjectively, for me, Cantona would have to be the guy, because Cantona wasn't just a player. Cantona was an era. Cantona was a catalyst, in my opinion, that kicked off the Premier League. Cantona, in my view, was a catalyst of an era. Cantona transcends, like being the best player. Cantona was the catalyst for this club. For everything that preceded it, for me, it's him, and Rooney is probably the most gifted that I've seen. Carrick looks confident and doesn't panic when we score or concede. Why not just give Carrick a year deal on +1 option to extend if he gets top 4 nominal contracts? And Grace, I like that, Grace. Grace, I don't disagree with you. I think that if there is nobody, Grace is on it tonight. Grace is winning the chat tonight. Don't mess with Grace. I don't disagree with you, Grace, actually. I think if nobody is available and we've got no intention of signing the best players because there is no cash, then why not give him a 1-year deal? Neil says a lot of money spent and Carrick getting a tune, as I've said, was possible. Dallo, obviously, of course, somebody's drunk dropping their pens. Great to see a live channel talking about real football team. Thank you, Tom. Hope you're doing extremely well, buddy. Giggs doesn't get much credit. Look, there are so many players, right? And again, people love Scholesy. Yeah, I've got, look, if you're asking me, right, you could say Giggsy. Giggsy, look, it's not because I'm not giving these players. Look, if you ask me to choose one player, right? If I was to choose two or three, Giggsy, Scholesy, and I'd even say Bex. I love Bex. But Scholesy was the one as well. For me, Cantona, naturally gifted, Rooney for me. But look, Scholesy, I can't even express to people, and I'm sure many of us have watched Scholesy. Scholesy, what a fantastic player. Rooney, is he up there with Rooney? Yeah. Scholesy, just unbelievable player. Unreal as well. But look, Giggsy is as well, but I could only pick one. The way he passed, yeah, Tom, mate, you're real. Are you talking shit? Mark, you've gone. Mark's gone. So Mark's gone. For being a wanker. Pure recycled opinions. I've heard this exact sentiment about 10 times in the last week by famous pundits. Just liking. There's a reason. I guess people repeat this. This is not recycled opinion, mate. This is my opinion. If you don't like it, and look, this is what I'll always say, right? I do respect opinion, right? I will read your opinions out, right? I don't mind opinion. Banter is fine, right? But if you can't enter a debate and all you're going to do is come into the chat and start having a pop, you do know you don't need to be here. Like, if your opinion is that sort of opinion and it's not going to move a conversation forward and you're just bitter, like, nobody cares. Like, I will read out the chat because it is because I'm respectful and like that chat, and I don't care. Now, I have my views, and if some people have the same views, because guess what? Football's not that difficult. So people are going to have the same views. And if I have the same views, guess what? Right? Guess what? The majority of us on here will have very similar opinions because that is what you do. You have similar opinions. Some people don't, some people do. And if you don't like the channel and you don't like me, it's free. You don't have to be here. But again, if you don't want to be here, mate, look, I don't want to exclude you from the channel. But if you're not going to add anything into the conversation, then you just don't need to be here, buddy. You just don't need to be here. Scott, I knew somebody was going to say that. So Revel Morrison, what was apparently one of the greatest players. And I knew Scott was gonna come up with that one. I saw Cantona at Selhurst Park. I remember him at Leeds. Mark Hughes, you're old. Mark Hughes is old. The rumours are he wore his collar up because he had a Leeds tattoo. I don't care. I don't care. Look, Mark can suck a dick. Mark's gone. I've used my executive power. I'm a mod. The power has gone to my head. Charlton is my greatest United player and best naturally gifted for the modern era. I'd go with Keane and Rooney. And look, this is the best part of this, right? Is that I love the fact that we all don't think the same. I know Charlton is, you could argue, the greatest player, best, but because I didn't see these players play, I think I would be doing a disservice. I think I would just be saying it to be like everybody else. Like, I know there's a reason why Best Law and Bobby Charlton are the statues are there, right? But I can acknowledge it from a mile away. I can pay it respect, but I can't talk about it because I never lived it. So, but I completely respect that. Skulls told me Dallo is our most gifted. EJ Williams says, hi all. In all honesty, Rooney is my favourite player. Did you hear about Lee Chapman's wife rumours? I didn't. I actually I don't know Lee Chapman, but I know vicariously through somebody that knows Lee Chapman, because Lee Chapman used to play for Swansea, and I'm originally from that place. So I don't know Lee Chapman, but I didn't hear the rumours. I didn't. Roy Keane's goal against Juventus was heaven. That header, unbelievable header. Thoughts on the Arsenal game? Look, Arsenal do what Arsenal do well. Arsenal do their thing. Arsenal do their thing. They are winning. They are winning games. Maybe they shouldn't win, but they're grinding out results. That is what champions do. Till we put him into centre midfield, Rooney was probably the most all-rounded player I've seen in a United shirt. Rooney was definitely rounded. It's why he left for a low fee. Howard Wilkinson wanted Lee Chapman because he was scoring loads for Leeds at the time. I mean, look, I remember that Leeds side that won the league. I mean, I was gutted because I think we were in the shout, I think, on the last day, and I remember that. But that Leeds team, Lee Sharp, oh God, Lee Sharp. Arsenal just boring. Lee Sharp could have been incredible if he knuckled down like Giggsy. Lee Sharp, the Sharpie Shuffle. They won the last. Yeah, they did. I remember that season. I did. I was absolutely gutted. I think I was in that season. I think I was 9. Was it 8? I was 8 or 9. And I remember that season well. I remember being excited, and I think that season, that was the season that I got my favourite shirt of all time. That was a difficult season, and then I put up the famous poster. I've got the poster there. It's not the exact same one, and then I put it up, and then we won the league then for the next 20 years. So wasn't too bad, was it? If United play like Arsenal, fans would have a meltdown. Phil, what he says, Cantona was overrated. And look, you're not going to get from me. You're never going to get that. What are you talking about? Blah 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 blah. If that's your view, Matt, I don't know who you support. If you're a United fan, I think that's a very interesting opinion to have. If you're not, then you're on the wrong channel, mate, for that, because I disagree with you. Omar says, hey, old man, give us some life advice. I'll come back to you. A very underrated player was Anderson. I liked Anderson. I think injuries, curtailed his career. But he was a fantastic player. I just think he was just. I think, if I remember correctly, I think he got injured, and I think it was his knees, wasn't it? Hey, old man, give us some advice. I'm gonna come back to you. JB, everyone got to head off. Early start in the morning for me. Have a great night and great stream. Look, Nick Arut's a legend, my friend, and thank you for the super chat, buddy. Absolute legend of the channel, buddy. Hi, old man, give us some life advice. Biggest life advice that I can give to you is don't marry your sister. yeah, just do not marry your sister. Your mum and dad will not be happy. Other than that, mate, it's all good, really. Just just leave your sister alone, and it's all good. He turned up in big games, and yep. Rated Andre Kanchelskis. Kanchelskis was quality. I did like him. Peace out, Nikarusa. I'm just kidding, King Erik. Phil, my friend. Life advice with JB could go wrong. It could go extremely, extremely wrong, Grace. It could go extremely wrong with me. Don't eat yet. Yellow snow. Avoid it. I went to Finland. The kids saw loads of it, and it transpires that it's a bunch of dog piss. You see it a lot. It's not human piss, it is dog piss. Fresh says, evening, mate. Shaw and Casemiro, world class as always. Did you marry your sister then? I didn't. I don't have a sister, so no. I married someone else's sister. But no, I didn't. No. I married someone else's. But, if I was to give advice, if I had a sister, I know it seems like the easy option. It's not. It's legal, and I advise you. Don't support United. It's bad for your mental health. Jesus Christ. I mean, mine's already screwed as it is. So United ain't doing me any favours. Grace says, JB knows about marrying his sister. Get a DNA test with every person you date first. It's true. It's true. Great shirt brings back the memories. Pallister. Borough, my hometown, Brill defender from United. Lots of player coaching connections between Middlesbrough and United. Gary Pallister, let me tell you something. Gary Pallister, I love that guy. I thought he was, and people don't talk about him a lot, right? Pally was rapid, and there's stories about how Ferguson would go around to Pallister's house and he'd be sat there eating shit, chocolate bars, crisps. Pally was a natural athlete, quick, just brilliant. Pally was an absolute legend. I absolutely love Pally. Just rapid as well. Absolutely rapid. Robbo as well. Robbo is absolute class as well. What a class act. Captain fantastic. Pallister or Bruce, I can't believe Bruce never got capped. I mean, Jesus, it's like asking picking between your mum and your dad, really. I love the fact that Bruce would get his face onto anything, and obviously his face took the brunt of stuff, and I mean that in the most respectful way. Steve Bruce's 94th minute winning goal to win us the first league. I think I'd have to give it to Brucey, right? And the reason why I would give it to Bruce is, as I said there, right? He scored the winner in the 94th minute or something, the 96th minute, to win the first league. Got to be Brucey. It's got to be Brucey. But Pally is a close second. But for me, it's got to be Bruce. That header to win us the league. Yeah, forget about it. Absolute legend. How old are you, and what was your job when you were younger? I'm 42. I'm just going to say this to you. I'm still in my prime, by the way. I'm still in my prime. Just about. What was my first job? My first job was... What was my first job? Scott is being cheeky. Scott's saying that I was first job was in World War One as a trench digger. Scott is naughty. No, he's cool. Was Bruce the original? I think Brucey was the original slab face. I think slab head. I think Bruce was the original slab face, like put his face onto anything. I'm 42. My very first job was, bloody hell. My first job was working in Pizza Hut. Yeah, that was my first job. My first ever job when I was about 17 was working in Pizza Hut. So if you were around back then in Essex, I might spat on your pizza. But I'm just saying. Do you have any grandson or granddaughter? No, I don't. I don't. I have 3 children. One of them is reasonably young. My children range from teenager all the way down to small child. So no, don't let the grey and the beard fool you. No, I do not have any grandkids. Omar, I like you. I like you. Your nose grew when you claim to be in your prime. I'm still not done just yet. Ask him to show his Zimmer frame. Oh, you are you guys cracking me up tonight. I love it. Goldbridge had some great jobs. I love you, mate. We've got the regular Goldbridge fan in, like absolute legend. I know you do love the Goldbridge, and it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Look, if you're coming on here after you've been on the Goldbridge channel and you come here, I take it as a sign that you can't wait to come and tell me. So I'm glad this channel is in your heart. I'm glad that you think of us so much that when you go to Goldbridge's channel, you come here and you think about us next. Thank you. Kevin says, who would be the ideal 6 for us to sign this summer? Stretford End Podcast. Legends. Hope you're doing extremely well. Big up you guys. I hope you're well. Come on, United. Stretford End Podcast, mate. Absolute legends. Hope you guys are doing extremely well as well. Look, let's get 4, right? Let's get bloody 4. Kevin, who would be the ideal 6? I mean, I would have said a Baleba, but he's fallen off. Kevin, are we talking about, Kevin, a proper 6? Are we talking about more of that defensive, like anchor, defensive destroyer type, or are we talking about a more of a kind of 6 come 8, 8 come 6? Like, what are we talking about? Like, are you it really depends for me on what it is that you want, right? Do you want more of a destroyer? Do you want more of an anchor that sits there? Are we going to play that way? Are we going to keep playing with that sort of anchor in front of a back 4? Are we going to push up? So I think for me, if I was to hedge my bets, I would probably go for an Anderson type if I could pick somebody, an Anderson Baleba type. You can have a Wharton, but I think Wharton is more of an 8 than a 6. I think we need a Baleba type. Goldfish was a detective. My first job was working in cherry canning factory. I came home looking like the scene from Carrie every day. See, I love this. Can you show around? Not really. No. No, because no, I can't. I could do, but I'm not going to, because it means I've got to move all things around, and no, I'm not going to do that. If you could take one United player for City, I would take Dorgu. No, you can leave him alone, Logan. If I could take any player, who would I take? I would probably take Haaland. Like, as much as Haaland is Haaland, I would be stupid You know, Haaland, I would take Haaland. I love the chicken vans in Germany. We need them in the UK. Is there any signed shirts? No, I could look. If you want me to, I could sign you a shirt. No, no, I don't have any signed shirt. Oh, actually, do I have a signed shirt? No, I don't. He was called PC Plot. Yes, a 6 and not Anderson. Kevin says we have no 6s. Anderson, Casemiro, every top team in the world has a 6. Look, if we're looking at 6, I mean, 6s are difficult. You know, your 6 compared to my 6 is not going to be the same. Now, do I want somebody who's ultra defensive in a 6? I don't know, mate. I think a Belabor type, and I know it's boring. The thing is here, who else could we get? And I agree with you. Look, once Casemiro goes and Ugarte go, but Ugarte is not very good, and Casemiro is 34 years old. Rice or Casemiro? It's going to be Rice, hasn't it? Really. Anderson is an 8. John McGinn. And look, and Anderson is an 8, but Anderson can be anything he wants to be, Kevin. If you look at Anderson's stats, right, go and look at his stats. And I know, Kevin, you are a big fan of stats. Go and look at what Anderson can do. Anderson can play a 6. Anderson is very good defensively. Anderson is very good at going forward. Anderson, for me, is one of those players that can play in either a 6 or an 8. It depends on what specialism you want. So if you want a specialism, Anderson, for me, can play a 6 or an 8. I would happily have him. That's why he's so expensive. Kevin, go and check out his stats. His defensive stats are brilliant. They're called Schnell Imbiss vans, my friend, and yes, we need them in the UK. They sell Hawks to very good, or I would take Maguire or Bruno Fernandes off you. Interesting. Hexen or something. I don't talk German. Rice isn't a 6. I don't compare your 6 with JB6. Don't compare your 6 with JB6. You lose every time. We need a dictator in the midfield. We do. Being able to play 6 doesn't make him a 6. Rice can play 6, but it's detrimental to Arsenal when he does, which is why they bought Zubimendi. A Tonali kind of player. The thing is, I think the debate here is more about. I don't disagree with Kevin, by the way. I don't disagree, right? And the reason why I don't disagree with Kevin is because sometimes you need specialisms. You need specialist players. And I don't disagree with Kevin. I think we do need a specialist 6. But who is a specialist 6 that we can get? And this is why I don't think we are going to get a specialist 6. This is why I think United are going down the Belabor route. I think this is why they're going down, the Steeler route. The talk to that. And look, let's get back on to what we were going to talk about, right? The gamble. There's a great big gamble. Wilcox has been allowed to gamble. Now, apparently so again, this has made me laugh tonight. So apparently, there's a story going around. Gamirez is a specialist 6. Belabor is. Gomez is. Steeler isn't a 6 either in that mould. And this is. And Kevin, look, I don't disagree with you, mate. I'm tired. I'm tired of putting round pegs in square holes. Belabor, look, I want a Belabor type. is Baleba going to be the guy? I don't know, but I think we need. This is what I think we need, Kevin. As this is your topic, and I think he's right. Is that fucking hell? I think that we need a specialist number 6. So a Baleba, a Gomez, as you said there. I think we then need a specialist 8, or you could have an 8 come 6. But then I do think we then need a player who can adapt. So I think what we need, Kevin, is I do think you're right on this occasion. I think we need a specialist 6, specialist 8, and then I think to support those guys, I think we need an all-rounder that can cover a 6, can cover an 8. And in fact, I think we probably need, and then I think you've got Mainu in there as well. So Kevin, man, I don't disagree with you, buddy. Wilcox needs to go. Why is he at United? Friends, mate, friends. Oh, friends, football friends. He's there because he's friends. Wilcox was the director of youth or something at City, and then he was the director of football or something at Southampton before they went down, and then somebody decided to bring him in. You know, a director of football, for me, are you selling shoes? Are you selling? No. I'm not selling it. No. I'm not selling, mate. We needed, and what I want to see, and we're talking about best in class, right? Best in class to me is you go and get an experienced football guy or football team that has won stuff. You go and get the best of the best of the best. JB does need. I do need them all. I need them all because, as Scott said, you know, we needed the best of the best, and now and Kingsman agreed. The Glazers out, and this is what I wanted to come on to tonight. There are stories out there. Why do you need a writing implement in your hand to talk? Drop your bic and pick up a pencil to. I just like to write things down. I do, mate. He runs off for us. I've always done it. I've got paper. I've got a pencil. I always like to write things down. It's just that it's just a weird thing. Let's have a little look. Score prediction for City versus Newcastle. I think City will win. Travelink says Goretzka rumours. Oh, God, no. Oh, not him again. I mean, look, Goretzka. I mean, not for me. You know, maybe 4 years ago, maybe, but not now. I mean, Goretzka, come on. We can do better than Goretzka, surely. I mean, Goretzka, come on now. I mean, no, not for me. I mean, would you guys take him? Would you guys take him? Because I don't think I would. I mean, would you take Goretzka? Because I wouldn't. But look, that's just me. Obviously, I get that. Say they remind me of Cruz. Yeah, no, yeah, I agree. Look, I don't. I'm not saying that you are saying that. Do you have tattoos on your body? I mean, Jesus Christ, mate. Talk about boundaries. We need some boundaries. No, I don't have any. What I do have is I do have a massive scar. I'll tell you why one day. But I don't have that. I've got a massive scar, you know. After Schweinsteiger, I just don't think Germans do well. I've lots of tattoos, says Scott. This is not the channel for that. Exactly. I mean, there are channels, Kingsman. You're right. There are channels for that. There are, you know, special channels for that. We need Belaber. JB has an elephant tattooed. Oh, you are funny. You are funny. But look, Glazers outlook. The Glazers, Ineos, they're gambling. Wilcox, they are allowing him to gamble. Now, what I did see today, this made me laugh. You can tell me your opinions on this as well. It's basically been put out there today that we were going to sign somebody. We were going to get a midfielder. And this has been allowed to be put out there, that we were going to sign a midfielder. We had the money there. We were going to sign a midfielder, but we chose not to. I mean, fuck off. I mean, look, what is this? Is this children's hour? Like, what sort of idiot? It's almost like this club just, you've caught them lying. It's almost like you catch your kid lying, and then they're still telling you a lie, and you know they're telling a lie, but they keep on with this lie. Oh, I am. Just what a bunch of lying, dirty, low down, low IQ, snaky bastards. I mean, the Glazers, I mean, they've ripped out the essence of this club. They spin this fan base around. They've spun this fan base around. And the biggest fucking insult to me is, if you're not going to buy players, don't buy players. We're not fooled by that. We knew that this was spin. And my coach, no. We knew that this was spin. This channel said it. You guys said it. We've been saying it for weeks. It's all spin, 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 right? But then do not have the audacity, because you make yourself look even more cretinous than you do. Don't come out the next day and say, well, guess what, guys? We were going to sign players, but guess what? We didn't. Because why didn't you? Why didn't you go and get a player? It's just, he's not that big. How rude is it? Let's have a look what we're saying. Saka is shit, so he's folding. The Glazers are absolutely, they are disgusting. Spin, spin, spin. I think it's Spider-Man, Gwen, and Miles running the club. What Busby Babes and Matt Busby and Fergie built is being ripped apart, mate. It's already been ripped apart. Am I a manager? No, I'm not. How many siblings? I've got about 70. No, I've got a couple. This is where we are. And again, like Lewis says, evening, sir. I hope you're doing well tonight. Just another day being a United fan, Lewis. It is, buddy. It is, mate. Absolutely is. And look, we've got it today. Yesterday, I'll tell you, Ornstein again as well. Did you ever play football? I did. I did play football. Wasn't that at a high standard? Let's just put it. Look, it wasn't I was bad. I just wasn't very good. You know, just an average player. I was extremely quick. The only thing that I had in my game was I was rapid. What position? Mate, I shit. Like Omar, chill. Weird questions, buddy. I was a striker. I was a winger. I started off as a winger, and then I was a winger, and then I progressed up front because I could play basically on the halfway line, and then you know, look, Javine, mate, look, I can't look. I can't, mate. You're on the naughty step, buddy. Mate, I can't do it, mate. I just I can't do it, mate. Yeah, you're got. I mean, I just look. Today's been weird. Today's been a weird day today. Chats have been really, really weird today. I'm it's ridiculous. I don't know, Lewis. It is ridiculous. So look, yeah, I played as a winger. I was very, very, very fast. Played as a striker, very, very fast. But that was it, mate. Yeah, just never, I never got a chance really. Never really pursued it. That's life. That's life as it goes. So look, Glazers for me. Look, where are we at? Ornstein, and look, I do have to mention this here. And look, I don't care what I say, right? I don't mind saying things because look, Ornstein's never going to come on this channel, right? Ornstein's not going to give a shit about a little old me, right? I'm not going to hold back just in case the channel gets bigger. And in the future, I wanna talk to these people and lick their ass and that sort of shit. No. And look, there is no danger of that. This channel's not going to get to that size, so it's fine. Now, my problem with Ornstein, and look, I mean, he knows more than I do in terms of he gets some. He didn't make it pro because he left the trench behind him. It is true. If you go back, David Ornstein, you do need to bear this in mind, gets things. As I say this, a man's got to eat, right? He obviously gets things from the club. He says things from the club. David Ornstein gets things from the club. I'm alleging this, but it's true. So if you listen to his podcast, where do I get my kits from? From a website called Retro Club. No, it's called Club Retros. Yeah, it is. It is a good site. So it's called Club Retro. Yeah, it's really, really good. Or Retro Club. Yeah, it is brilliant. So if you didn't see it, and people miss these little bits and pieces, right? David Ornstein in the summer did a podcast with some authority saying that United, whatever signings, and he had it on good authority that whatever signings that we don't make in the summer window, we will push them to the next window and we will look to make signings, right? What a pile of bullshit. Okay, David Ornstein was then during December, towards the back end of December, him and Fabrizio, those two are big old mates, talking about Baleba and Anderson, a Stiller, just to get you rolled up again, just to make you and we never did any of that on here. The Semenyo stuff never bought into it. That many of you guys in here, as a channel, I think you guys are intelligent. I think you guys are not swayed by the bullshit. And it's just, and again, said the same thing today. He's saying that I don't think we're going to spend much. And Lewis, and this was going to be my next point, was that he's now gone from saying all of that, Lewis, and you're 100% correct. That was going to be the next bit to this, is that he's now saying that United are not looking to make any signings, or the signings that we're going to make, don't think we're going to be, spending hundreds of millions of pounds. Don't think we're going to have a massive summer. What the fuck? Like, literally, Petter, come on now, says hi. Like, what is this club doing? Like, Lewis, I'll give you maybe a sort of different opinion and a different approach on that. Are we setting it up just in case we don't get don't get the Champions League, right? That could be one thing, right? But my argument to that would be, why didn't you go and get a fucking play to make sure that we're going to get the champ? This is what I don't get. This is why Wilcox for me is a fucking idiot. Why aren't you pushing for somebody, right? But the rhetoric is now we're not going to sign somebody. So Ornstein was being the mouthpiece, was doing the dirty work of this club in the summer to push people to this. They've moved it down the line, and there's so many people complicit who never get called out. There are so many channels that are complicit. You know, channels that are complicit with the thumbnails. There are channels. There are media people like a fucking Ornstein. You know, look, everybody licks his arse. Everybody wants to feed from the Ornstein tit, right? It's a fucking load of nonsense. He absolutely gets paid from this club, and he's paid to do their shit. And he's gone from pushing this now, and as Lewis says, he's now pushing out, which he didn't. He's now, and look, cold logic, you are right. The Glazers have the final say. But when you get these people who are complicit, these people are complicit. And what I mean by that, it is joint venture. You know, if you do something wrong, right, and you go and steal a car, and I know you've stolen a car, right, and I didn't do anything about you stealing a car, I don't tell the police, I'm complicit in that act. The fact that David Ornstein has got eyes, the guy seems like a fairly intelligent guy, he's complicit. He's complicit in this lie. He's complicit in helping the rhetoric from the Glazers, the spin from the club, to spin this fan base around. David Ornstein is a wanker. Like I've got no time for him. Got no time for Ornstein. And yes, during the summer we'll break the news because you know it goes to Ornstein. But Ornstein is complicit in all this. Ornstein is part of the problem, spinning this fan base around. And no one calls him out because everyone's too shit scared, because just in case they don't get an Ornstein exclusive, who gives a fuck? Like, these people need to be called out for what they are. And this club right now is in such a perilous position in terms of financials. Look, we all want top four. I want top four. I can't stand these players. I can't. But I have to support them to get us over the line. And we needed another player. And we've not got that. So if we don't get top four or the Champions League, we're fucked. We're absolutely fucked. And yet, Ornstein, Fabrizio, Wilcox, the Glazers, Ineos, they're all complicit in this fabrication, in this lie. And they're gambling. Ornstein is gambling for clicks. Wilcox is gambling for a job. The Glazers and Ineos are gambling for money. And the only people who get punished are going to be the fans. The players won't get punished. They will still sit there in their mansions. They'll get moves away. The only people who come out of this worse off and look bad are going to be the fans. Let's go through some of these chats. Pixel says we ain't going to get anybody. Has anyone in the under 21s looked to have potential? Biancheri looks good. Lacey looks good. There are a couple of kids in there that look good. Ornstein is the club. He is not enough in the under 21s. That's I'm aware of. Going to be the next Mainu. Couple of years, but next year I don't think there's many. I hate ungrateful fans saying Fergie sticking around like a bad smell. Fergie is one of the best reasons we have history. He has the right to stick around. And look, Ray, I am with you. You know, the disrespect for and this is what I mean. Like, football has moved on, right? You know, you've got people whose legends are Bruno Fernandes, and I'm not calling anybody out here, but what I am saying is this: you've got people who were in the same breath Lord Bruno Fernandes, who Lord Casemiro and Luke Shaw, but these same people will call out a Fergie. Now the guy sitting in a stadium, and I mean this in a metaphorical way. Alex Ferguson is sitting in a stadium that he fucking built, and I don't mean he physically built the stadium. Like, he's earned the goddamn right to sit there. If Alex Ferguson, in my view, wants to sit in, if he was to sit in goal or sit on the corner flag, he sits on the fucking corner flag. Because what modern fans don't get, and I do get it, I do agree that we need to move on from the past. We need to move on from Fergie. I've moved on from Fergie. I still respect the fuck out of him. I've moved on from Fergie, and we need to transition through. But what younger fans don't get is you wouldn't have this, what we have now, if it wasn't for Fergie. And before him, to Matt Busby. You don't have the things you've got now if it wasn't for the past. It's like, you know, if you live in a nice house with your parents, like, my kids have got more than I ever had. They don't appreciate it. I don't make them appreciate it. Maybe I should do, but they don't appreciate it. So then when fans sit there talking about Ferguson, I mean, it is just unreal to me. I get it, and I will agree with the statement that, you know, we do need to move on from the Ferguson days. I think most of us have. I think the club used that as a rhetoric, but, you know, I agree with you. 1878 says glory to Man United. Ain't you got work in the morning? Yes, I have. I do have work in the morning. I do have work in the morning. It's only the ex-players hanging around like a bad smell with their podcasts. Trashing the club used to be all ex-Liverpool pundits on TV back when they were shit. Omar back again, going to ask what's his favourite pie. My favourite pie, Lewis. Lewis, if you're asking, my favourite pie is Omar's mum's cream pie. How do you rate Amir Abragovich? I can't even pronounce that, mate. And his brothers. Amir, I think is. I've not seen loads of him, but I have seen him. I think he's a great. But look, it's so difficult. It's so difficult. I think those guys have a great potential, have a really good potential. But there's the problem is that there's so much room to grow, and you're not the same player at 15 as you are at 18, at 23 years old. You have to judge them on the levels that they are now. It's very difficult to predict. But I think, as you say, is there good potential there? Yes. But let's see how that does. What's your personal United 11? Oh, bloody hell. Schmeichel, Irwin, Schmeichel, Irwin, Pallister, Vidic. Right hand side would be Neville. Yeah. Irwin left. Down the middle, Roy Keane. I'd probably put Scholesy in there as well. I'll put Scholesy in as the 8. I'd have Giggsy on the left, Beckham on the right, Rooney and Cristiano. Now, look, don't get me wrong. Cantona, I love him. I don't know how I would put him in. No, I do actually. I do. This is how I would put him in. Neville can fuck off. I'd play a back three. Yeah, there we go. I'd play Schmeichel, I'd go Dennis Irwin, I'd go Pallister, I'd go Vidic, I'd go Roy Keane, Scholesy, Giggsy, Beckham, and then I'd go Rooney, Cristiano, Cantona. Don't care. Black Eyed Peas or Black Eyed Peas, Cold Logic, mate. That's fucking awesome. Black Eyed Peas also moved on from Fergie. Fucking hell, mate. That's quality. Except our Fergie wasn't an addict to crystal meth. My thoughts on JJ Gabriel. JJ Gabriel, look, again, you know, a young player. Very, 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 very high potential. Again, I think, by all accounts, I have seen him play as well. He's very, very young. The talent is clearly there. Could he be the one? Could he be the one? I think Gabriel should aim for what Lacey's done. I think Shea Lacey is absolutely wonderful. Let's have a look. This guy in another channel was talking shit about me, says Logan. Wow, mate, Logan, just give him the finger, mate. Tell him to stop being an arsehole. Jamie Brown. Let's all give him shit. Hang on a minute. Come on, guys. Let's find him. Come on. Let's back up Logan here. Come on. Akuli's fucking work in the morning. Come on. I'm gonna back him up here. I'm gonna back him up, Logan. I'm gonna back you up, mate. I'm gonna use a different account and I'm gonna back you up, mate. Here we go. Let's back you up, mate. Let's do this one. What's he called? Jamie Brown. Oh, he looks like a knob. Why's he calling you out, mate? Here we go. Jamie Brown, mate. Give him some shit, mate. Here you go. Leave Logan alone. There you go. Done it, mate. Done it. I've told him to leave you alone, mate. Told him. Knobhead. Ineos need to leverage Nice instead of Jim trying to sell it. Euro Heaven could spend 1 or 2 seasons there building their partnership. Cheeto and Amas could do well there, and Nice need help. You know, look, I don't disagree. Scott's done it as well. Oh, I love it. Logan, mate, we have got your back, son. We have got your back. I love it. Is he crying yet? How many people are watching? 2 people. I love it. Brilliant, mate. Brilliant, mate. Look, I don't disagree, buddy. Colodic, mate. I you know, the problem this season for me is the reason why we don't have depth is because we don't have enough games for depth. We just don't have enough games for depth. And yeah, you know, he's. But again, I don't. Can we do that though? That is a question. Jonathan Moore said beef and potato is the best. I like corned beef hash. JB, think me and you would get on with your humour. Thanks, mate. Look, mate, I try. Some people think I'm funny. The family doesn't, but you know, I've got to try. Carrick needs a Mike Phelan kid type working magic on development. No, Andy Cole. Look, I love Cole as well, but I can only pick 11. I love Andy Cole, Dwight York, Solskjaer. Jamie Brown takes it from the back. Oh, brilliant. It does. Is he getting rinsed yet? I can't see how many people are on his live. This isn't James Brown. Love it. Brilliant. Fan base not going to be so loud when your team is losing again. And look, X Gaming. If you've been to the channel before, mate, then you'll know. Look, this channel is all about logic. We're not. Check my last comment. What did you say? It says, what channel, Logan? Omar is the type of person to ask JB what his favourite colour tastes like. Oh, I love it. But look, this. All I'm going to say is this, right? Is this fan base is not going to be happy. This fan base is not going to be singing, right? We are on this channel. I'm very, very logical. I think we speak the truth on here. We're not. You forgot Ryan Wilson in your all-time 11. I did, mate. I've forgotten. Jesus Christ. Whiteside. I mean, look, I could fucking name so many players. But I'm not going to deprive. I'm not going to deprive this fan base of winning 3 games. Look, we have been awful all season. If this is just a bounce, the last 3 weeks have been wonderful. Am I fooled by this team? No. Do I think we're going to lose at some point? Yes, of course we are. But look, right now we're winning. It's exciting. I'd rather be like this than what it was. JB, you forgot Ryan Wilson. I'm loving the shirt. Yes. Where we're spamming. His name is Jamie Brown. Yeah, he basically looks like he's basically got. I mean, he's just. I mean, yeah. Yeah. What a pleb. Igor says, hi, hello. Honest opinion, do you think Shay Lacey is better than Max Dowman? Oh, that's a very, very, very good question. That's a very, very good question. Now I've got to be careful I don't need to be careful what I say here, because it's not as if people are going to watch the channel. So Max Dowman, he actually went to my daughter's school, and Max is actually there quite a bit. So I saw Max there the other week. So Max goes to the school. So like I've got a lot of respect for Max Dowman. Shay Lacey. I've seen Max play a couple of times. I mean, fantastic player. Balance, poise. What a really good player. But Shay Lacey, Shay Lacey's just different gravy. Dowman reminds me of a Bellingham type, and what I mean is that at such a young age, he's got such a maturity in the way that he plays, the way that he seems to think about the game. I think he's very, very mature. I think physically for his age as well. I just think he's just one of those players. a young age, he was just very, very good. Shay Lacey is just one of them players. He just puts a smile on your face. Watching Shay Lacey he's just a bit. I think Shay Lacey is just a bit rawer. I think he's just a bit more exciting. I just think he's just a different type of player. I mean, I like Shay Lacey. I prefer Shay Lacey's style to Max Dowman. But Max Dowman is, I think he's a very, very mature player for his age. Lacey for me, but I just prefer that type of picks up the ball. He plays free. He plays free, and I like Shay Lacey. Somebody in the chat is saying stuff because I'm 14 as well now. Well, Logan, mate, people need to be look. People are out of order. Mate, just call him a knob and leave. Have a look at my life. Yeah, I've done that. Oh my God, I'm a City fan. My grandma thought I was United. She got me a United ticket. Do you know who Ryan Wilson is? Of course I do. Look. Yeah, of course I do. Yeah, of course I do. You forgot Jemba. Jemba. Is your shirt reproduction? This shirt is. This shirt is. Scott says peace out. This shirt is. I'm just trying to. My shirt is. Do I know who? Ryan Wilson is Ryan Giggs, isn't it? I think. Is it? Ryan Wilson is Ryan Giggs, is it? Is it? Is that Ryan Giggs? Is that his original name? Is Ryan Giggs, and then he changed it to his dad's name, and you've got Rodri Giggs. Is Wilson his mother's name, and Giggs is his dad's name? I think. Is that right? Is that right? Where he's been to stay with his grandparents. His grandparents' name. That's it. I knew it was either his mum or his dad's. My shirt is reproduction. Are those rare Pumas on the shelf behind you? Those things there. Well, they were rare, but they're not rare now. I'll show you before I leave. These things. These things here, yeah. These are these things. They were rare. They've now mass produced them, but yeah, these were the first batch, so these were quite expensive, but they're shit. The dog shit. Ryan Giggs was Ryan Wilson before he moved to Wales. That's it. I've got the original Sharp is faded. I've got the original treble winning shirt. That one is real. Where it is. That one is the original one there. That was my shirt when I was about 11 or 12. Take care, guys. It's time for me to get some kit before work in the morning. Always great hanging out with you are legends. Thanks, buddy. Claudia says, hi. Good trivia question. No, it is. That's a cracking one. They're fucking moron boots, mate. You want it? I've got some proper weird ones, mate, as well. He collects it. You've been running in too much yellow snow. I have. But look, guys, I'm gonna go. Absolute legendary show. Look, you guys make this channel amazing. It's been a weird day. For chats on here today. It's on the whole, obviously you guys are legends, but we have had some weird stuff on here today. What N64 games have you got? GoldenEye, Mario 64, Mario Kart. In there is FIFA 98. International Superstar Soccer, Banjo Kazooie, GoldenEye, I think I've said that, Perfect Dark, bunch of other stuff as well. Yeah. So I'm away to bed. Appreciate yourself and appreciate the chat. Thank you for reading my comments and hot takes. No, mate, I appreciate the hot takes, Ray. I love them. I can't wait for your hot takes, buddy. So keep them coming, Ray. Lucky Shamrock says, amazing. I always get your name wrong. Tenyaro, I think that's right. I'm so sorry. Look, thank you for gifting out a membership, mate. Absolute like legendary. Look, thank you. Look, those people, look, you guys who support the chat, you know, give away the memberships. When I do another stream, I'm going to give away some as well. Look, guys, I appreciate the support. You know, you guys are the originators. You guys have been here, and hopefully, when we get big and we take over the world, you know, you are the guys and girls that made it happen. So look, I can't thank you guys enough, and I appreciate you now gifting out memberships as well. It's unreal. Tech Academy GoldenEye is amazing. No, it is. Conrad says this generation will never understand blowing on a cartridge. They'll probably think that's slang. Probably think it is slang for someone else. But no, you know, when you take out the cartridge, give it a blow, or banging a telly. You know, when the telly doesn't work anymore, you give it a bang, or the tracking on a video. So Scott's probably too young for this one. Is when you had a video recorder, sometimes the tracking would be off, and then you'd have to twist the little knob to get the tracking to work right as well. Blow on my cartridge. No, it's true. I spent many an hour blowing on a cartridge just to make it work. You kids don't know you're born. I'm telling you that. Balat, welcome, my friend. Tenyaro, look, absolutely legendary. Absolute, a little bit old for me. Putting your 50p in the TV, Jesus, yeah, my put in the old pound in, or the 50p. I mean, look, these. It was a simpler time. It was a better time. And I you know, remember going down to the phone box with like your 10p's, you know, running out of 10p's. It was just a happier time. It was just a happier time, simpler time. You know, it was just amazing time. And I'm a child. I'm a child of the back end of the 80s, early 90s, and there are people that go back. You know, I remember blowing in N64 games. Well, there you go, Scott. There you go. You are the last of the game blowing the generation. So look, guys, I am going to go. Look, legendary stuff. Look, you guys, I could do this for hours. But I do have to go to work in the morning. So look, guys, absolute legends. I can't thank you enough for being on this channel. You guys make this channel amazing. Without you guys, there is zero chance. So look, I will be back tomorrow. Tomorrow at some point, I will be back. A time when people actually own games. Exactly. Exactly that. Logan says, see you soon. I won't be on tomorrow. I'm at the game. We're going to work. Look, Logan, have a great day tomorrow, buddy. Just for you, Logan. I hope you win. Logan. So look, mate, give us a thought whilst you're there, mate. Have a fantastic day, buddy. I hope you guys win. And look, good luck, mate. You know, I'll be thinking about it as well, buddy. Really lucky, Mrs. JB. Well, mate, I've got skills to pay the bills, and I so you don't know. I really don't. So look, guys. Well, you know, sometimes she does. You know, if she's behaved herself, then she may get the pod. But you know, no, that's yeah, no. See you soon. Come on, City, Logan, legends. So look, guys, I'm gonna go. I will be back tomorrow. You guys are legends of the channel. I will see you tomorrow. Thank you so much for being on here with me, supporting the channel. Legends as always. And yeah, look, have a good rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world. I'm JB. This is a United Devil channel. And exactly, Alex, I do wish. I absolutely do wish. We all know that is not true. So I will be back tomorrow. You lot take care, and I'll see you very, very soon. Pivot out, and I'll see you next time.